So question 20, factorise 15 minus 10x. When it comes to factorising, we have to look first of all for a common factor. In other words, something that all the terms in there can be divided by. So if we look at this one, 15 minus 10x, we don't have letters in both of them, so we can forget a letter. However, we have 15 and 10. We're looking for a number that divides both, and it's going to be 5. So 5 is our common factor, so we're looking to put the brackets back in. So 5 is on the outside, and now we're looking to find out what we are going to put inside our brackets. So 5 times something is equal to 15. So 5 times 3 is equal to 15. Next, we're going to look for 5 times something is equal to 10x. 5 times 2x is equal to 10x. So that's what's going to go inside our brackets. Question 21, multiply out the brackets and simplify. So everything inside the bracket is going to be multiplied by whatever is immediately next to the bracket. So in other words, just this here, just the 5. So everything inside the brackets is going to be multiplied by 5. Okay, so let's multiply out. First of all, we're going to do 5 times 3x, which is 15x. Then we're going to do 5 times 2y, which is plus 10y. And then we still have this minus 4x at the end. That is not multiplied by 5. Now we need to gather our like terms, for we're looking for things at the same. I have 15x and I have to take away 4x. So that gives me 11x. There's no other y's there, so the 10y stays as it is. Okay, question 22, we're asked to factorise fully 12xb minus 8c. So again, first thing we're going to look for is a common factor. We don't have the same letters there in each term, so look for a number. We have 12 and 8, and the thing that's going to divide 12 and 8 is 4. So we're going to have 4 outside the bracket. Then we need to think what's going to go inside the bracket. So 4 times something equals 12xb. 4 times 3xb makes 12xb. Next, 4 times something equals 8c. 4 times 2c. Close your bracket and that's it done. Question 23, multiply out the brackets and simplify. So we have 2a plus 3 bracket 4a minus 5 close bracket. Again, the only thing that we're multiplying by is what is right next to the bracket, which is 3. So it's what's inside the bracket, 4a minus 5. That is going to be multiplied by 3. Okay, so we're going to multiply out first. The 2a is going to stay as it is. Then we're going to do our multiplying. So we have 3 times 4a, which is 12a. And then 3 times minus 5, which is minus 15. Now we have to gather our like terms. We have 2a plus 12a, so that's going to make 14a. And minus 15, as we have no other numbers in there, so that's us done. Okay, question 24, multiply out the brackets and collect the like terms. So we're going to multiply out our double brackets using FOIL. Firsts, outers, inners, lasts. So we'll do our firsts. So 3x times x, 3x squared. Then we're going to do our outers, so 3x times negative 1 minus 3x. Then we're going to do our inners, 2 times x plus 2x. And then our lasts, 2 times negative 1 minus 2. And then we still have this at the end. So plus 4x. Now we're going to tidy up all our like terms. So we have 3x squared. We have no other x squareds there, so that's going to stay. We have minus 3x plus 2x plus 4x. So first of all, minus 3x plus 2x is minus x. Then we have to add on another 4x, so we have plus 3x. And the only thing we've got left to do is the 2 here. We've got no other numbers there, so it's just going to stay as minus 2. So question 25, we're told to factorise x squared plus 2x minus 15. So do our usual, we're going to check for a common factor, there isn't one. Check for a difference of two squares, there isn't. So we're going to do product and sum. So that means we are looking for two things that multiply together to make negative 15, but added together to make positive 2. So we have factors of minus 15 that have to add together to make a positive 2. So because we've got a negative, that means we know that we're going to have a plus and a minus inside our brackets. So we're going to have x and x, we're going to have a plus and we're going to have a minus. And because also we've got the positive there, we know that the largest factor is going to be positive. So factors of 15. So we'd start with 15 and minus 1. Added together, that's going to make 14, not what we want. Next up, we have 5 and minus 3. Added together, that does make 2. So our factors inside our brackets are going to be 5 and minus 3. Done. Question 26, multiply out the brackets and collect the like terms. Again, we're just going to use FOIL, but there's one extra step, that's all. So now we're going to multiply out. So everything in the second bracket is first of all going to be multiplied by x. So we're going to do x times 2x squared. So that's 2x cubed. Be careful of your powers. Then we're going to do x times 3x, which gives us plus 3x squared. Then we're going to do x times negative 1, which is minus x. Now we're going to multiply through by the 4. So 4 times 2x squared is plus 8x squared. Then 4 times 3x, which is plus 12x. And then finally, 4 times minus 1, minus 4. Now we need to do our final tidy up. So we've got 2x cubed. We have no other x cubes in there, so that is going to stay the same. 2x cubed. Now we're going to look for x squareds. We've got 3x squared plus 8x squared, so that's going to give us plus 11x squared altogether. We've got a minus x and a plus 12x, so that's going to give us plus 11x. And then finally our minus 4 with no other numbers in there, it stays the same. So question 27, factorise completely. We have 3y squared minus 6y. So again, we are going to look for a common factor first. So we have the same letter in each term, and we also have a 3 and a 6. So 3 and 6, the highest thing that can both be divided by is 3. So my common factor that I'm going to pull out is 3y. Put in the brackets. So 3y times something gives me 3y squared. That's got to be y minus, and 3y multiplied by something gives me 6y. That has to be 2. Done. So factorise 3x squared minus 7x plus 2. We do not have any common factors. We do not have a difference of two squares. So we're going to have to go for product and sum. But we need to be careful because this time we have a 3 in front of the x squared. So we're going to take the 3 and the 2 and multiply them together. So 3 times 2, and that's going to give us 6. So we want factors of 6 that when added together is going to give us minus 7. So that tells us, because we've got a plus in here and a minus here, that both our factors have to be negative. So factors of 6 that add together to make negative 7. So minus 6 and minus 1 added together do make negative 7. So that's what we want. So we're going to rewrite this equation, but instead of minus 7x, we're going to put in minus 6x and minus x. So we're going to have 3x squared minus 6x minus x plus 2. Now we're going to put a line down the middle and we're going to pull out a common factor. So we've now got a line down the middle. Now the minus 6x and minus x, that is just minus 7 rewritten, because minus 6x minus x is minus 7x. So now we've got it rewritten, we are going to pull out a common factor from each side. So looking at this side first, we've got 3x squared minus 6x. We're looking for common factors. So what we can pull out of there is 3x. Now we need to put in a bracket. So 3x times something is 3x squared. So that's got to be an x. And then 3x times something is 6x. That's got to be 2. Now we're going to pull out our common factor on the other side. Now we need to have what's inside our brackets matching. So I need x minus 2. So if you look, it really means that we need to change the signs. And in order to create the opposite sign, we are going to multiply by negative 1. So our common factor that we're pulling out here is minus 1. Now we're going to rewrite it with our common factors inside one bracket. So we do 3x minus 1. So we've taken that, and we have put them inside one bracket. And my second bracket is what we've already found there. So x minus 2. And that is that fully factorised. So question 29. Multiply out the brackets and collect their like terms. So again, we're going to use FOIL. So we're going to do 2a times 3a, 6a squared, 2a times 2b, which is plus 4ab. Then we're going to do minus b times 3a, which is minus 3ab, and then minus b plus 2b, minus b times plus 2b, which will be minus 2b squared. So tidy up and gather our like terms. 6a squared, there's no other a squareds there, so that's going to stay the same. We have a plus 4ab minus 3ab, so that's just going to leave us with ab. Minus 2b squared, there's no other b squareds there, that's just going to stay the same. So question 30, factorise 2p squared minus 5p minus 12. We do not have a common factor, we do not have a difference of two squares, so we're looking for product and sum to break it into two brackets. So we're going to take what's in front of the p and we're going to multiply by our number at the end. So that gives me 2 times negative 12, so we have minus 24. So I want factors that multiply together to make minus 4, that added together make minus 5. So we have one factor positive, one factor negative, and the fact that we've got a minus here tells me that the largest factor has to be negative. So we're going to start off with minus 24 and 1. That doesn't work. That gives us negative 23. Next down the line, we're going to have minus 12 and 2. That doesn't work. That gives us minus 10. Next is minus 8 and 3. Added together, yes, that does give us negative 5. So we're going to rewrite the equation using minus 8 and positive 3. So rewritten, that gives us 2p squared plus 3p minus 8p minus 12 plus 3p and minus 8p. Those there, it's just another way to rewrite minus 5p. So again, we're going to put our line down the middle and pull out a common factor either side. So 2p squared plus 3p, our common factor there, the only thing we can pull out is p. So our common factor on this side is going to be p. P times something equals 2p squared. That's got to be 2p. P times something is 3p. That's just 3. Then we know that we need to match up bracket-wise. So what I'm looking for on the bracket on this side is also 2p plus 3. So what's going to go outside? So we need 2p multiplied by something that is minus 8p. That means it's got to be a minus 4. And just to double check, minus 4 times 3 is minus 12. So we all go back to what we want it to be. So finally, we're going to rewrite it. Take what's outside your brackets. So the p and the minus 4, that goes into one bracket. So we have p minus 4. And then our second bracket is what we've got already here. So that is 2p plus 3. And of course, if you want to do a double check, use FOIL to multiply out and make sure you get back to what you started with. Question 32, 3 5/8 plus 4 2/3. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my whole numbers. So 3 plus 4 is 7. So I'm left with 7 5/8 plus 2/3. Now, I'm going to use smile and a kiss method because before we can add fractions, we must have a common denominator, which means the bottom number has to be the same. So we are going to multiply our bottom numbers together to get our new common denominator. So the 7's staying there. So 8 times 3 is 24. So my new common denominator is 24. Then we are going to multiply, that's the kiss part. So 3 times 5 is 15. And then 8 times 2 is 16. So now we have same bottom number, the same denominator, so we can go ahead and add. So 15 plus 16 is 31. So we have 7 and 31 over 24. Now that's an improper fraction. I want to change it. So 31 divided by 24 is 1, so we can take one whole number out of it. So that gives me 8 whole numbers, and my remainder is 7 over 24, which I cannot simplify any further. Okay, question 33. We have 1 1/8 divided by 3/4. Before you do any dividing with fractions, change everything that's mixed fraction into a improper fraction. So the top number is going to be bigger than the bottom number. So this is the one that we need to change, the 1 1/8. We're going to change that into an improper fraction. So in order to do that, we are going to do 1 times 8 and add on 1. So we're breaking the whole number into eighths, which is 8. We already have an eighth, so that's 9/8. So we have 9 over 8, and we are dividing it by 3 over 4. Now to divide fractions, you turn your second fraction upside down and you change your divide sign to a multiply. Now 2 ways we can do this. We can look across the way to see if there's anything that we can cancel down before we multiply. So in this case we can. We've got 9 and 3. So both can be divided by 3. So they're going to have 1 there, 3 there. We also have 4 and 8. Again, we can cancel down. So that's going to be 1, and that's going to be 2. Just makes our multiplying easier. So now we have 3 times 1, which is 3. 2 times 1, which is 2. 3 over 2. Change back into a mixed fraction, 1 1/2. So if you don't like the cancelling down, you can just go straight ahead and multiply. So 9 times 4 is 36. 8 times 3 is 24. And then you have to simplify. So 36 and 24 can both be divided by 12. So 36 divided by 12 is 3. 24 divided by 12 is 2. And again, go back into a mixed fraction. So that is 1 1/2. So both methods work. It's just a bit less work if you know how to cancel down before you multiply. Question 34. 2 1/3 plus 5/6 of 1 2/5. The word of can be replaced by a multiply sign. So this is really a BODMAS question. So we're going to do our multiplication first, as according to order operations, the multiply must be done first. So this is what we're going to do first. So again, we need to change the 1 2/5 into an improper fraction before we do anything else. So 1 2/5 becomes 7/5. Now we can go ahead and do our multiply. Again, we can cancel down, as we have, if we look across the way, we have a 5 there and a 5 there. So we can cancel. That becomes a 1. So doing our multiply now, we've still got our 2 1/3 plus 1 times 7 is 7. 6 times 1 is 6. And now we just need to do our add. So our problem is the thirds, this here. We need to change it so we've got the same denominator. To change a third into sixths, we're going to multiply top and bottom by 2, equivalent fractions. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we can go ahead and we can add. So 2 plus 7 is 9. So we're left with 2 and 9 over 6, which is a mixed. So we're going to change it back. It's an improper fraction, so we're going to change it back into mixed. So 9 over 6, we can change that into 1 and 3/6. So 3, and we're left with 3 over 6. 3 over 6 will again simplify to 3.5. So the alternative way to go, if we don't like cancelling out before we multiply, is we still have 2 1/3 plus 5 times 7 is 35. 6 times 5 is 30. Then, of course, we've still got to add on our 2 1/3. The problem being the thirds. So I need to change that into 30ths. So multiply top and bottom by 10 to do that. So we are going to have 2 and 10 over 30 plus 35 over 30. Now we can go ahead and add. So we're left with 2, 45 over 30. We can change the 45 over 30 into a mixed number. So 30 away from 45 is 1, with 15 left over. So 3, 15 over 30, which is equal to 3.5, which is exactly the same as we got before.